It is just the 5 of you. So, what's that?
Yeah.
Well, tonight it's just the 5. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if we could grab our seats, please, that'd be great. I will run through the spiel again real quickly. Thank you again for attending this year's candidate forum. Welcome to the STMA School Board discussion. I am your moderator, Mike Schomer, editor and publisher of North Wright County Today. Today you are seats on this year's school board. 2 of the candidates were unable to make it tonight. They are Carol Steffens, who is out of town, and our other one is Joan Kynan, who could not be with us. We are joined by Carrie Donnell, Tom Policius, Brian Renbold, Holly Seville, and Drew Scherber. Each candidate will have 10 minutes to make their presentation and take questions, if time allows. 2-minute and 1-minute warnings will be given to the candidate. At about 30 seconds, I will stand, so you will know that your time is almost up. Your timer is right here in the front row. We thank the St. Michael Albertville Women of Today for hosting us here, and St. Michael Albertville Middle School West. The order of the candidates has been chosen at random. Drew will lead us off.
All right, thanks, and thanks to the Women of Today for hosting this forum. It's always better when voters are aware of their candidates. Tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Drew Scherber, and I grew up in St. Michael, Albertville community. Graduated from the school district here, this building, first one to graduate out of this building in 1993. After college, I was hired by our sheriff's office. I'm a sergeant for the sheriff's office, and I supervise one of the divisions within the sheriff's office. I've worked there for about 21 years. I'm also a member of the Sons of the American Legion and also the Knights of Columbus. I previously served 1 4-year term on the St. Michael City Council before serving the last 12 years as one of your school board members. I also work for the Minnesota State High School League, and I officiate volleyball and basketball. Another one of my hobbies besides that is traveling. 12 years ago, I didn't run for school board because I had issues with the way the current board and district were running operations. Rather, I ran because I was impressed with the district as a whole, and I always have been. The way the board went about their business, the teachers in district gave me a great education, and I wanted to give something back. I believe my greatest strength as a school board member is credibility. I work to build consensus with my fellow school board members, even though we don't always see eye to eye, and that's okay. One thing I've been impressed with is that our current board and boards before us have all focused on what's best for kids, and that's why we're here. I have no personal agenda for running for re-election for the school board, just to do what's best for kids. I would like to serve another 4 years on the school board, if you'll allow me. The current board has been addressing the issue of, as everybody's heard of, equity and funding. The district has been working with our legislatures to address the inequity of the basic funding formula for schools. Positive steps have been made, and we're continuing to pursue better funding for our school district. Funding has a direct impact on class sizes. The district is also a member of C, Schools for Equity in Education. One goal of C is to narrow the gap of funding between the highest funded schools, Minneapolis, over 2 times what we get, and schools such as ours. Currently we're ranked 227th out of 331st. I'm not here to tell you that we deserve as much funding as Minneapolis, but I think the gap is too much. It's 2 times plus. Even though we're low funded, our test scores are still off the charts, doing great. We're doing more with less. We currently rank in the top 10.5% of Minnesota public schools as determined by the Minnesota Comprehensive Assessment results. This isn't by accident. This is a credit to all involved, teachers, administration, and the good families that we have in our 2 communities. This meets our vision statement that the district set to accomplish in the last strategic roadmap to be in the top 15%. So we're there. It's not good enough, but we're there. We're getting there. Open enrollment is another item the school board has had on its radar. Talked about it a couple times in the last few years. Financially, it's a plus for the district. I think we do have about twice as many coming in as leaving, which is a good thing. A lot of schools would be jealous of that. A lot of districts would be jealous of that. And that speaks volumes to our school district. It speaks volumes to our administrators, our teachers, and our community as a whole. At this time, we've decided not to limit open enrollment. We will continue to monitor the capacity of our schools and ensure we can handle the open enrollment. I believe because we've had so much open enrollment, it has not allowed us, or not made us go out for a levy, which we need more funding. Right now we have current funding or a levy of $695 per pupil, which is well below the state average as well. The school board will be asking voters to approve a bond referendum for about $35 million. Items such as a new usable ice arena, a workhorse, not a show horse, as the architect has stated, additional classrooms to the high school, and also the Elderville Primary. When the high school was built a few years back, 10 years ago, we asked for a referendum for that, part of $110 million. We built it knowing that we may have to add on. So it's going to be added on the north side if this passes. Technology is also going to be on there. Technology, we're constantly spending money on technology. Anybody, we're upgrading our phones, we're upgrading our computers, our networks in the schools. That's always going to be there. And we've always funded it through bonding, and I think that makes sense. And the reason why it makes sense is because when we put out for a bond referendum, like the $110 million to build our last 2 schools, we had technology in there. We didn't have to take it out of our general fund. We didn't have to take it out of our capital fund. The people in War Road helped pay for it. The people in Maple Grove, all over the state, they helped pay for that because of the equity and funding that the state gives us. So we're going to continue to do that with this referendum as well. Safety and security entrances to 3 of our schools, the high school, middle school east, and Elderville Primary. So they're like all the other ones, a little bit more safe. I do support this bond referendum as proposed at this time. The school board, the current school board is going to go forward with this in February sometime. There's going to be one question. I know not everybody likes the one question. We felt that was best for the community as a whole to go with one question. I get why some people maybe don't think that that's the best way to go about it. If this passes through equalization, about 40% is going to be paid for by other people around the state of Minnesota. We finally get a little bit of that money back that we're not getting through the via the per pupil. I know we still all pay state tax, so that 40% that's coming from the state, we all in this room help pay for that. I get that as well, but it's just spread out a lot more. As a taxpayer, I feel like we're getting great value from our school district. I like to think that I've had a small part of that in the last 12 years. As a fiscally responsible board member, I will continue to look at the whole picture and do what's best for kids. I believe I have the knowledge and experience it takes to keep the school district moving forward. Thanks.
All right, we have a little bit of time left, so we will open it. We got about 3 minutes, so we will open up to questions for Drew. I'm going to save myself a little bit of walking and ask this question, which I'm sure is why people have their hand raised. Why one question? Beyond, what thought went behind one question for the bond issue?
The board considered 2 questions. Each board member, 6 of us, thought it would be better served by the community if it was 1 question. 2 questions won't pass, I don't believe. It's very tough to have 2 questions pass. I know some people are against that, but that's the reason why we went for it. It depends whose lens you're looking through. The things on there that are needs or wants, all those might be wants for some people, all those might be needs for other people, and then everything in between. So we're leaving it up to everybody in here and everybody in the communities to either vote this thing up or down.
I can yell.
Perfect. You weren't first. You weren't first. Mr. Sheldon.
Thanks for the opportunity for the question. I'd like to remind that 2 years ago we had 16 elected officials between St. Michael, Elderville, and the school board. 14 of those officials supported a candidate. That candidate lost by over 60%. That tells me that the constituents know better than the three boards. So I would like to see that issue split 3 ways. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
My question is, why February?
Why?
We have a consensus as a board. There's been many meetings, 17 community members. February is how the timeline worked out. We still haven't voted on it officially. We're going to vote on it at the November 7th meeting. Although we have reached a consensus, so I'm about 99.9% sure that it is going to go forward in February. November was the other option. We didn't think things were ready in time yet, but fair question for sure.
Got about 1 minute, so one more question.
So presuming it passes, where does the operating cost for the arena come from? So if we build an arena, how is it paid for to operate it after that?
Same way it's paid for now. When I was on the ice arena committee, 10% of arenas in Minnesota make money. Otherwise, they're funded through other ways. It's user fees now. If someone chooses to put a kid in hockey, they're paying a lot of fees. That's who's paying that. They're paying 70 to 60 bucks an hour to go in there and use that. I don't know what the going rate is. I've been off the hockey board for a few years now. But it's user fees that are going to pay for it. Am I going to sit up here and tell you that it's never going to come from the school district? The school district does currently help fund the ice arena because we use it for our high school hockey team. Our high school hockey team doesn't get enough ice time as compared to the other communities around us. That's one reason why we're going to be building an ice arena as well. But it comes from user fees to answer that question for the most part.
I feel like we had to put Drew on the spot there a little bit, but he is the incumbent, so we had a couple of questions there for him. All right, we have Holly up next, and Doug, if you can lower the lights a little bit on stage so we can see the screen, I believe.
For some reason, the power is not working. I don't know.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, we played with it before and it was fine, so I don't know why it's not working. So that's okay.
We'll skip the presentation then.
That's okay.
All right. Okay, lights up. All right, Holly is our second candidate. We'll let her catch her breath here as she comes to the
What are you trying to say there? Lower this because I'm short. Can everyone hear me? Yeah, that's never been a problem. Hi, my name's Holly Sable, and I'm obviously running for STMA School Board. And I'd like to thank the STMA Women of Today and Julie for organizing this tonight, and to Mike Schomer for moderating. And I truly appreciate all of you taking the time to come out tonight to listen, to be an informed voter, and for those of you who are watching from home on Facebook Live, hi everyone. I have lived in St. Michael for 12 years with my husband, Jonathan, and we have 2 boys, Jackson, who's 10, and Preston, who's 8. Both of them have grown up in STMA schools, and we're very proud of that. We absolutely love our schools and our community, and I've always loved working with and advocating for children. I volunteered in our schools for more than 5 years and spent countless hours volunteering in our community. I've been an activist in our district and around our state for many years, and serving on the school board is another way that I can give back to our community, and I feel that our community deserves new representation on our school board. As a mom and an educator who has worked in public schools and other settings, and someone who's attended the majority of STMA school board meetings in the past 5+ years, it's okay, but thank you. I not only have a vested interest in our schools, but I'm also uniquely qualified to serve on the school board. I've worked in education for most of my life. I have my master's in early childhood education from Concordia University. I have been a licensed family child care provider for the past 11 years. I've also worked in many public school settings, from kindergartens, preschools, before and after school programs, special education classrooms. I've done private in-home therapy for children with special needs, and I've worked in Spanish immersion schools, alternative schools. So I've kind of done a lot in education. This is my passion. I've also been a trainer for early childhood professionals and school-age professionals for the past 6 years. I've served in many board and leadership positions, including president, vice president, and treasurer. I've served on the STMA calendar committee as well. I'm sure this will come as a shock to many of you, but I attend those school board meetings and I take extensive notes and share them online with people because I want more transparency and more engagement from our community when it comes to our school board decisions. It also provides nice nighttime reading, and then you can fall asleep reading those minutes. I've worked with legislators and policymakers for many years. I've testified at the Capitol, I've written testimony, I successfully lobbied for and against legislation, and I'm eager to use that experience to help our district. I believe the top issues facing our district are equity funding, balancing the interests of stakeholders with fiscal responsibility, and continuing to provide quality educational opportunities for our students. Of course, the equity funding issue is the biggest issue facing our district. I know it's a big catchphrase, and so hopefully what I say might help explain what it is. The disparity in per pupil funding that comes from the state is deplorable. St. Michael Everett schools receive about $6,067 per pupil in basic funding, whereas school districts with more political clout and larger, wealthier districts like Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Wayzata get around $12,000. It's totally unfair. We rank 327 out of 331 school districts in the state. A few years ago, we used to rank last. But despite those issues, we've continued to do more with less. Children have been used as political pawns in this complicated formula, and that absolutely needs to change. Our school board needs to work with our legislators, and not just our legislators, but legislators around the state, as well as other school districts who have come out saying that the equity funding issue is such a big issue. And we need to contact those legislators and keep hammering away at this until it's fixed. Because the reality is that in a few years, they're going to have to levy taxpayers again, and it's going to keep happening over and over until this issue is fixed. Students will always be my first priority, but what benefits students typically benefits everyone else as well. I promise to consider every issue thoughtfully and fairly, listening to the facts and opinions of students, teachers, parents, staff members, and community members. Everyone deserves to feel like they have a voice on the school board. It's imperative for the school board to be fiscally responsible with the taxpayers' money and transparent with every decision. Every school board meeting should be recorded. Bonds and referendums should be put forth to voters in the general election when it doesn't have ways to fund capital improvements. Our 98% graduation rate, our well-rounded students, our excellent teachers and staff, and our supportive parents and community members are all proof that our district support our district's high state and national rankings. However, there is always room for improvement. Standardized tests and push-down curriculum, which simply means placing higher expectations on younger children, we're continually pushing down on them, and it's not developmentally appropriate. It places significant pressure on our students and our teachers in schools today. They are expected to perform well on tests that are costly and stressful and take up the valuable instructional time. Teachers understand the best measures of student learning. They need the freedom to teach the children in the way that they know is best. I am in favor of reducing the number of these standardized tests and advocating for more local control from state and federal mandates. Adding to the stress of the fact that our K-5 students receive about 20 minutes of recess time every day. In kindergarten, it's about 30. Significant amounts of research show the social, emotional, physical, and cognitive benefits of more recess time. I support increasing not only recess time, but lunch times as well, through collaboration with teachers, staff, and administrators. These changes would ensure that every student in our district continues to receive world-class education. I love our schools and will always put kids first. Everyone should feel like they have a voice on a board, and I will listen to everyone and put the time into considering every decision thoughtfully. For more information, if I had a slideshow here, you'd see my website and you wouldn't have to listen to it, but my website is saville.stma.com. It's S-A-V-I-L-L-E. It looks like Seville. And I'm just eager to use my experience in education, leadership, and legislative advocacy to help our district, and I humbly ask for your vote and support on November 8th. If you want any lawn signs, please let me know afterwards, and I'd be happy to give you some. Thank you.
All right, we have a couple minutes for Holly. Anybody want up there? I should just come up here every time.
Okay, Holly, this is the question. Since our school does so well with because we do more with less, can we sell that marketing to other schools? Teach them how to do better with less?
Can we sell that as marketing to other schools? Yeah. Yes. In fact, I believe that the school board discussed having signs placed around the district to market all the wonderful things about our district. I would totally support that, and I think businesses would help contribute to that so there'd be no cost to taxpayers.
Holly, I'm going to put you on the spot the way I put your on the spot. One question, where do you feel on that?
On the referendum?
Yep.
I am actually torn on the referendum. I will always place student learning, smaller class sizes, health and safety repairs, security improvements as top issues, but I'm very disappointed in the way that it's being done. It's being done in a special election. When there's going to be low voter turnout, it's done on purpose by many school districts that way. The timing couldn't be more terrible, and like I said, it costs $10,000. I think all bonds and referendums should be put forward to voters in the general election. And I've asked multiple times for it to be categorized into at least 2 questions. So I'm not in favor of the referendum in its current form.
Got about 1 more minute? Way up top. It's going to have to be yes or no.
Hey, wearing your Fitbit, Mike?
It should be.
Thank you. I was president of the STMA Band Boosters for many years, involved with the band program. I'm wondering with your research, how you feel about the arts as opposed to the sports in our school district.
Well, I fully support well-rounded students in all aspects of our schools. I am a huge proponent for the arts because myriad research shows the many benefits for students, again, socially, cognitively, physically, emotionally, when they participate in the arts. And you could argue the same for athletics too. I just think it's very important to focus on our classroom instruction, and that includes the arts. My son plays in band and choir at middle school East, and he absolutely loves it.
Thanks, Holly.
Thank you.
Can we get the lights down one?
Thank you. I looked
Got
at
a
that.
little bit hot. There we go.
Oh.
All right. Tom, you are third.
Hello everyone, my name is Tam Polin-Ceusz, and first of all I would like to thank STMA Women of Today for preparing this event. Ladies, you've done a wonderful job. You know, when I first walked in, I wasn't lost. You know, somebody showed me what to do right away. I really appreciated that. And I want to tell you right away, I'm not a politician, I'm an educator, you know, so my presentation is going to be a little bit different. I know it's late, so I try to keep you awake and entertain a little bit. And I've done many presentations in my life working with students at the college level, so I know it's hard to pay attention, right? You hear probably over and over the same story, so I'm just going to do it a little bit different. You can tell right away by my accent that I wasn't born in St. Michael, Albertville. I'm originally from Poland. I came 20 years ago, you know, when I was actually exchange student in North Carolina. I had a wonderful experience with host family and the community. You know, that's what I learned, the value of community. You know, everybody was so welcome, and I think that's what I love our community here. You know, I've been living here since 2009 with my family, and my lovely wife is right here. She's supporting me. She's also my technology expert. She's gonna forward those slides. Love you, honey. So we can go to the second slide. I wanna start to tell you that I have 4 big major reasons that I love, and that's why I'm running for school board. So my reason number 1, my daughter Kasia, who is 6 and she's in kindergarten right now, and she just loves it. You know, I have great experience. You know, the kindergarten actually organized this year breakfast with dad. That was the awesome experience, you know, that I have, and probably 400 other dads in our district, you know, to be able to have a breakfast with your child. And I think it's important. Because for me, education, it's not about the money, it's not about stuff like this, it's about the experience. You know, for my kids, what I wish when they graduate, that they would come to me and say, Dad, I really have a good experience, I learn a lot, I make friends, and I want the same experience for every single child in our district. You know, when they graduate, when they have this positive experience. Love my daughter Kasia, but my son Michael, he's 4.5, and he's in preschool just for kids. And I tell you, this little guy has done already more art projects than I've done in my entire life. So I love to see every day like the new creation. Next I have my son Luke, who is 2.5, and my little pumpkin named Anya, she's gonna be 1 in December. And those kids attend the local super cool home daycare, you know. So I tell you about that slide, you know, that's just summarize my presentation in my one slide, because, you know, over the years since I have a kids, my choice of movies change. So, Baz and Rudy can tell you all about the school board. So I want to tell you a little bit about myself and why I'm qualified for this position. I graduated with Bachelor of Science in Computer Science from St. Cloud State University. I also have my Master of Business Administration from St. Cloud State as well. And I have many professional certifications, but one that I'm really proud, it's called Microsoft Certified Educator. And basically that certification help creative educators, you know, to use technology wisely in the classroom. I love technology, but I tell you a secret behind it, you know. Many rich school districts invest tons of money in the newest technology, and guess what? The test scores didn't improve. Why? Because it's not technology itself, it's actually the great teachers that lead the classroom and help the students with it. So, kind of, you know, some new inspirations. I want to make sure that there is discussions on the school board that we got the proper funding for our teachers to learn more about the new technology. So when the technology, we find the proper funding, come to the classroom, the teachers know how to use it and know how to make it beneficial in the classroom. Also, I attended many educational conferences over the years, and I should say, you know, I'm currently an online faculty for Central Lake College in Brainerd, and I work as a network technician. That's my daily job. So, attending all those conferences, you know, we shouldn't set the limit for our students. You know, everything is possible. You know, I wish that in 10 years we would have next engineer, developer, you know, something that is gonna bring cool stuff that we will be proud, you know, and that's possible. Our kids are smart, we have a great teachers, we got a great community, that can happen. We just have to believe it and support it. And speaking of technology, I would like to say hello to everybody who is watching us live on Facebook, especially to my 4 kids. Daddy loves you. You see me now. This is great, you know, technology, if it's used properly, can, you know, because I understand there is a lot of hard-working mothers in our district too that might not necessarily have time to come today and watch this, but they care about their children, their education, so technology like this can help them to watch this live, you know, at home and make the decision. Also, I would like to say, I like quotes, you know, and the famous football coach from Alabama said once that you can spend your time or you can invest your time. And I believe every single one of you in this audience decided to invest your time today to educate yourself better about candidates and important issue in our community. So I would like to thank you for doing that. That's great. Okay, the next picture. It's another quote that I strongly believe when it comes to education. It's not what you do for your children, but what you have taught them to do for themselves that would make them successful human beings. And I think in our districts, a lot of good stuff is happening, we just don't talk about it enough. And I want to tell you one story that I read about it. You know, it's about the local Boy Scout in our community who completed his Eagle project, And what he's done, he actually designed and built 5 benches that were placed in the local school. Because, you know, he came from different state from Arizona and he had a hard time meeting new friends. And he thought that would be an awesome idea to have it at every school, that the kids that are more shy can sit on the bench and meet the friend. And especially with our growing community, we have a lot of people that recently moved in here, and for some kids, that could be a challenging transition like this. You know, I myself had to move school when I was young, so we should celebrate students like this and support them and recognize events like this. And the next picture is kind of refers to what I said before, you know. If you have a budget and you have a computer for every single child, that's great. But the great teacher can use like less resources and organize teamwork, that kids can learn together, share, and that's what I'm stand off about. You know, if you really want to prepare our kids for the future, we have to taught them how to work with other people. And I hope if elected on our school board, you know, we would have the same policy, just work together for the common good. Because every single candidate here, all they care is about those kids and community. Every single one of them. So, that's super important. And the next, I believe that after school activity, it's actually when the magic happens. You know, because of this, let's look at our football team. What a great accomplishment. They won the state championship last year, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank you to coaches, parents, students, teachers, you know, because there was a team effort. There was a great, you know, I'm proud that in my school districts, you know, they achieved such a great accomplishment, and I want to support that. I don't know how many of you know that probably our football team will gonna compete on the higher level next year. So I want to make sure that those students, athletes, have a proper facilities, equipment that they can compete, and we should be proud of that. Next, I have a picture of the school band. You know, how many of you attend the homecoming game? What a great event! You know, those bands and you know all the music program at school. Let's make those events live and you know so enjoyable to attend. You know, I was surprised that most of the students, they actually come like 2-3 hours before, just you know cannot wait when they get and you know occupy that space. You know, there was the first time that I took my son Michael. Who was, oh, got 1 minute. I can talk, so really quick. This is my wife again, Lisa, who helped me to prepare this presentation. And with this one, you know, I think Drew and Polly already touched on this. I only want to say, I'm going to guard your finances. I will. So before the questions, I'm just going to tell you.
Your time's up, buddy. I think you killed it with the donut thing. I think it was good.
I'll be available after the meeting to answer questions.
Thanks, Tom. Brian is up.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight. Thank you for the St. Michael Alphaville Women today for hosting this event. I've been in the community 16, 17 years. I have 4 children. One is currently a sophomore in college who is brilliant. He can tell you that. And he's a product of our school district. I have a daughter that's a senior, a freshman, and I have the youngest who's a boy and who's really trying my patience. So I'm warning all faculty members, he's going to be a handful when he gets to you. We have a wonderful school district. We have some great gains that have been made. They come as a result of some incredible vision, a belief in a project with the courage to move it forward, and I don't think we recognize that enough. We're not birthing children out here that have higher IQs, have greater aptitude, ability, or genetic predisposition for brilliance. We are reaping the benefits of a change in curriculum that was visionary and took courage to enact. And that's as a direct result of our current superintendent. I think it doesn't get enough credit. We need to continue to move forward on those steps that she made so that we continue to progress in the right vision to come to fruition is the players and those are the teachers. We need to continue employer of choice to make sure that we're hiring the brightest and the best, and that we are able to keep those on staff in a smaller community. And that's tough. As a community, I think we support our school district and the faculty a great deal, but we need to continue to do so. We always like to say that children are our best asset and most prized asset until it comes down to tax time. Then all of a sudden it's like, well, wait a minute. I feel that we need to be very transparent with our funding, very clear and concise with our arguments, pro and con, with the referendum issues now and in the future, because we just can't think about 5 years. We have to think about 10 or 15 years. Open enrollment is a great thing as well in our district. It says that we're obviously a great place to be. If it begins to impact our local community residents with maximum capacity numbers, it's a trade-off. Do we take the financial benefit from having open enrollment and be more creative with classroom size, classroom space, etc., with our footprint of our school? That's something that can be argued out. Take a look at some data. We have to be careful with that. Also, with reference to arts and humanities, very important, obviously. Obviously, pro athletics. I'm a high school varsity league head coach. I was an athlete in undergrad as well, but I'm also all for arts and humanities. It's the only thing that separates us from the rest of the animal kingdom. It's not tool usage, it's not communication, it's not language. We can teach a gorilla to sign and a chimpanzee, but we can't teach them to make music. It's very important. I think having our band at homecoming is great. I've always supported the arts and humanities. We need to continue to do so. I'm not a politician. I don't have any hidden agendas or vested interest. My priority is the children, not just now, but in the future, and making sure that we do take concrete steps to build something that's going to be there in 20 years from now. So we don't look back and say, oh my God, it could have been so great, but we missed out on this opportunity. We need to engage more individuals, more parents, community partners at the school board meetings as well. And how we get more buy-in to that, I'm not quite sure. If it has anything to do with taxes or a levy or a referendum, that seems to get everyone out. So maybe we should always just say we're going to talk about increasing everyone's tax base the following year. And we'll have standing room only. We'll have to have 5 deputies there for security. I don't have any slick presentation. I apologize. I drove straight from the university here from a transplant. I got called in this morning early. I'm working on my doctorate in administration and education because I want to be a facility director. I want to get out of medicine. It's overrated. And again, I have no vested interest except the children of our community, but not just now, in the future. I want to make sure that we continue to grow on what we've got going right now. And that's it. I understand about the referendum. I support it, but I have some concerns that actually it may not go far enough. And I appreciate the sentiment about that it takes $10,000, maybe even a little more out of the budget to do so, but this is the reality we live in nowadays. We have to be politically savvy to get what we need done. If we just do it on the general election, most likely you know what would happen. It'll probably be voted down because we're all getting crunched. Everyone's budget. I don't know anyone that's saying, man, times are the greatest I've ever had. I got money to just spend like a wild man. So that's it. What you see is what you get.
Any questions for Brian?
Short and sweet.
Jim, I'm looking your direction. No, you're good? Oh, you got it? Oh, here we go. Sweet.
No.
I haven't been on this side.
You're wrong. Trademark.
Stand, I suppose. It's actually a question that'd be interested in everybody, and I'm more willing to do one candidate at a time, so you will get it. But I was wondering what your stance was on children in elementary, middle, and high school choosing a restroom based on their gender identity versus their biological gender, and I'm out of breath because I'm 9 months pregnant, not because I'm nervous at the questions. So, as I know, it may not lie in the school board's hands, but that's my avenue as a parent where I would go. So, I'm curious on your thoughts.
So did someone pay you to ask me that first? Great, thank you. Well, politically, if I'm going to answer that in the community we're standing in, of course I would have to say, well, that's we're going to have to talk about that. That's going to need some further discussion. No one steps. I have two cousins that were homosexual males. One was a great collegiate athlete, brilliant, had his master's, was part of the Rainbow Coalition in St. Paul. Died 8 years ago. And for people to be judged on the basis of their sexual orientation is not a good thing. No one goes into that lightly. There's a lot of social stigma that goes with it. It's tough. As far as middle school, high school, do we even have a full developed concept of sexuality or your orientation yet? You could have 1,000 psychologists say yes and 1,000 say no. 1,000 medical professionals go on both sides of that spectrum. It's very tough. I personally, being a head high school coach, having a daughter that's a varsity athlete, I don't think I would want a fully still functioning male changing with her. That being said, perhaps we need to have a special separate bathroom, lavatory facilities, locker room facilities for those students that identify themselves as that. So we, from a litigation standpoint and an inclusive standpoint, keep ourselves out of trouble and be respectful to those issues. It's a difficult situation. Just there's obviously a lot of crass arguments out there in society as well. Well, if I identify myself as this, then I can just do that. Human sexuality is a huge spectrum. It's a thing that develops over your lifetime and continues to evolve with the change in hormone concentration as you age. So, but again, I think I would rather have separate facilities, an individual locker room or lavatory for those students that identify as transgender and not sure what they are. Thank you.
All right, we will close with Carrie.
Thank you to the St. Michael Oberville Women of Today for hosting tonight's candidate forum. It's groups like yours that make St. Michael Albertville such a great doing the right thing for all of our children, education, equity in school funding, our community, and ensuring the initiatives the STMA school board works on are both strategic and successful. With the support of my husband Chuck, along with our 3 school-aged children, Jack, Andrew, and Ellie, I'm running for the STMA school board. There are many reasons why I'm running. Academically, STMA is in the top 10% of all Minnesota schools, yet only 4 schools in the state receive less funding. 327 schools receive more. Number 2, I want to ensure the board continues to focus on strategic initiatives, including the February referendum, open enrollment, and equity in school funding. And 3, I want to be a strong advocate on behalf of our teachers. I believe our teachers are our most important asset. For the past 12 years, I have served as an elected member of the St. Michael Catholic School Education Advisory Committee. The experience I've gained from this committee allowed me to bring to STMA's school board a perspective that includes detailed operational knowledge of the district, an understanding of improvement opportunities, and an ability to appreciate the diverse needs of STMA school and community. I believe each of these areas will play a large role in shaping the future of our children. During my tenure on the St. Michael Catholic School Education Advisory Committee, I, along with other elected members, was instrumental in driving and providing guidance in the implementation of several marquee programs. Striving to reach consensus has always been an important value to me. So in the course of these initiatives, I work with others to help increase the school's enrollment by more than 50%, doubling the school's revenue, and introducing positive change for students, administration, and staff. I also had the opportunity to co-chair the school's largest fundraiser, increasing earnings by more than 25%. I will bring this type of experience, drive, partnership, and dedication to the STMA School Board. In late 2008, early 2009, as part of the STMA Strategic Planning Committee, Superintendent Dr. Anne Marie Foucault, along with Big Woods Principal Lee Brown, invited me to join the Communications Committee. The committee brought 6 initiatives to the school board for approval. 1, create a district-wide logo with tagline. 2, identify a district person whose focus is on district communication. 3, ensure consistent school information is provided to the local papers. 4, implement electronic communications. 5, target communication to at-large community members. And 6, create and execute surveys. All 6 initiatives were approved, implemented, and are running today. In my full-time position as VP of Operations, I have developed and implemented creative solutions for the healthcare industry and been recognized as an organizational leader adept at building consensus and driving results while controlling costs. I will bring this business leadership experience to promote additional synergy between the school board, administration, staff, and teachers. I want to thank all the community members who have reached out directly to ask me specific questions. It's questions like yours that allow for full transparency in getting to know and understand each of the school board candidates. I have been mainly asked 2 questions. Number 1, what's my position on the February referendum? And number 2, which school do my kids attend? Let's start with the referendum. The February referendum is complex and includes multiple improvements, which I believe was a time-intensive and a difficult decision for the current school board. I believe the board was collaborative, focused on the students' best interest, students' safety and security, and remember the original plan when the high school was built to bring the sports programs home. I agree with the board's decision to move forward with bringing the referendum up for vote. I believe it is important for the community to have their opinion heard through the voting process, and I know the community will take time to review in detail the referendum before casting their vote. In its current form, I support the referendum and believe we as a community, a district, and homeowners will see positive future growth when it passes. Some of these gains will likely come in the form of increased business and residential development, offsetting our future tax responsibilities and increasing homeowner market value while continuing to make our community and district appealing for current and future residents. I also believe schools that educate the whole child, including sports, band, and other activities, see a higher rate in graduation. I am proud to say I am a member of the St. Michael Albertville School District and community, and I know you're here tonight because you feel the same. No matter how long you've lived in our community, you and your families are what make our school district and our community special. We're proud to call this community home. Our school district is special because we are committed to making difficult choices for the benefit of the community, even if we have nothing to personally gain. We don't think in terms of what's the benefit to me and my family. We think in terms of how our decisions will benefit others in our district and community. Others we may not even know. We think in terms of, is this the right thing to do for our children, our school, and our community? We are passionate about our community and we want to ensure it continues to thrive, making it a place where others will one day join us in calling it home. This leads me to the second question I've been asked most often. Which school do my kids attend? My kids currently attend St. Michael Catholic School. My husband and I decided we wanted our kids to have a faith-based education, knowing they would eventually attend STMA and benefit from the STMA's high academic standards. During my time as a member of the St. Michael Catholic School Education Advisory Committee, I have partnered with the school's administration to bring enrichment programs to St. Michael Catholic School, similar to the programs currently running at STMA. As I mentioned earlier, I am passionate about doing the right thing for all of our children, including my brother's children, other family members' children, our friends' children, our neighbors' children, and children of people who I have yet to meet. I'm running to ensure the board continues to focus on initiatives that will benefit all of our children. I'm also passionate about education, equity in our school funding, and as you can tell, our community. The complex challenges facing our district and community have inspired me to run for the STMA School Board. I believe it is imperative to bring core principles of partnering, inspiring, and developing solutions for complex problems to ensure effective, efficient delivery of high-quality education for our students. I strongly believe these core principles align with the future school board because I believe they align with our community. If elected, I will come to this position with an open mind, willingness to partner with the school administration, teachers and staff, other board members in the cities of St. Michael and Albertville, and I will have the objectivity necessary to perform all the functions of a school board member. I am willing and eager to devote the time and energy that this community deserves in fulfilling the duties as a member of this board. My family and I are proud to be part of STMA community and all that our schools have to offer. I believe my commitment to our children, education, equity, and our community will make me an excellent addition to the St. Michael-Albertville School Board. I'm also honored to be endorsed by the St. Michael-Albertville Teachers Union, and I'm grateful for their vote of confidence. November 8th, Election Day, is fast approaching. The polls will open at 7 a.m. and close at 8 p.m. And if you live in Albertville, you will vote at Middle School West. If you're in St. Michael, west of County Road 19, you vote at the high school. If you're in St. Michael, east of County Road 19, you'll vote at the Middle School East. I'm Carrie Dwonnell, and I look forward to receiving your vote on November 8th. Thank you for your continued support.
We have time for about one question. If anybody has one. You knew it was going to be Jim.
The taxpayer to save some money.
Wow, that's a great question. I think that we, Eric, I don't even really know how to answer that question. That's a toughie. You know, the St. Michael Catholic School, we're funded by the church. We pay tuition, but I'm still a taxpayer, and I still provide my tax dollars to the STMA school district, and I'm proud to do that. We have a beautiful community, and we have a beautiful school district. And so I guess I will bring drive, determination, and all my other strengths to push this equity funding issue forward. It's a gap, and we need to close it.
All right, that's going to conclude today's forum. My closing spiel was pretty much what Carrie has up on the board there. I'd love to see everybody here come out and vote on November 8th and pay attention to your precinct. If you have questions, the Secretary of State's website lets you put in your address and zip code, and you can find everything that is on your ballot ahead of time. So please vote, and thank you to everybody. Yeah. You want everybody to win? We have about 30 seconds. Oh, okay. Actually. All right. Let's go down the line. We'll do it. We're going to go back to the transgender bathroom question, and I'm gonna give you guys like a minute each. I'm just gonna check. Go ahead. Head up.
Personally, I know where this is going. It's already gone in some other school districts. It's going to the courts. The courts are going to tell us, unfortunately, if the male should be in the male restroom and the female should be in the female restroom, or if they can interchange. That's where this is going. There's no doubt about it. It's already in the process. So that's where it's going to end up going, and they're going to tell us where to go. I'm not in favor of building more bathrooms for that reason.
Well, I think it's a complex issue, and everybody got the right to their own opinion. And honestly, I tell issues like this are very, very hard to discuss. And when I stand with this, I think Brian did the excellent job answering the questions. First of all, he took his time instead of just saying yes or no, because it's a complex issue. And we shall see, and I agree with Drew that that's more refers to the court to decide, not to the school board that should not get involved in big politics, and I think that's right now it's question more that comes with the big politics. And
Thanks, Tom. Carrie?
Wow, it is a complex issue, and I agree with Drew. It's going to come down to the courts, and I agree with everybody else that's up here. It's complex. I don't know what else to say about it.
Well, I guess I'm going to be the lone wolf in this and say that, yes, it's a complex issue, and yes, the courts will probably dictate how the school would have to deal with it, but I personally am opposed to building separate bathrooms for transgender students and worry about the safety issues that can come with that. Right now, I think it could be too easy to say, yeah, I'm a female and have a male go into a female locker room or vice versa. So I think yes, it's a complex issue, but I'm all about ensuring the health and safety of all our students while always making sure that students feel respected. I think that safety definitely comes first. So, thank you.
All right. So now, thank you very much, candidates. Thank you, everybody, for coming out, and please welcome everyone.